In previous lesson, we have created and built transition for the second object that was a USB drive. And obviously, I have chosen random objects to create animation. It has no script for choosing them. So till now, we have created this one. Now it's time to build third object, and we also have to make a transition to destroy this drive. And at this time, I am not going to pre-compose these layers. Rather than that, we will animate individual shapes. So let's start with the basic shape. Press U key to open animated parameters. Let's add same keyframe so that it will stay till this frame. And let's work on individual nodes. Modify these nodes in such way that it would take shape of a water glass. We will have to remove this corner roundness. So expand roundness effect, add a keyframe, and on this frame set its value to 0. Apply ease on it. Go to graph editor and slow down path animation at the last keyframe. And don't touch the middle graph because shape will stay during that. Now do the same for the roundness animation. Play it. Okay, we have to hide both rectangles and the circle. So collapse it and select the upper shape layer. Open animated parameters and add same keyframe. Move 10 more frames and bring it down. Go to graph editor and at this time make it slow on its start point so that it will take some time to disappear. Preview it. Now let's work on the top rectangle. Same as before, animate its position and bring it down to hide it. Now using graph editor, make it slow at the start point. Let's check it. Good. Now one shape has been left to work on. So let's first trim layers on which we need not to work anymore. And as I have told you, always do it because it will keep you away from confusions. Now let's work on this circle. We will morph it to a rectangle. But we cannot convert this circle to a rectangle. Here we will play a trick. Let's trim it from the right side. Now take rounded rectangle tool and make sure no layer is selected. Now just create a square over this circle holding down shift key and try to keep it to the size of the circle. Now expand layer path properties and increase its roundness to make it perfect circle. And I think you got it. We will make this rectangle perfect circle using this roundness parameter and will keep it of the same size of the circle. So just play with these two settings and place rectangle in this way that it should perfectly match the circle. Now let's change its color to white. Just trim it, get rid of this inner circle also, and keep both layers just before the newly created circle. Now move playhead back and forward to check whether there is any difference in both circles, either in size or in position. There is a slight difference in size. To see it clearly, trim this inner circle layer because its animation ends here. Let's check it again. So we have to increase its size a bit and get foolproof idea about it, otherwise there will be jerk in animation. Alright, with this screen. Now let's animate its size, position and roundness. Move 15 frames and now change roundness to 0. Unlink constant proportion of size And let's convert it to a rectangle by changing both values. And let's bring it down. So it will animate something like this. Now we have to get rid of this extra shape on both sides. So again, we will play a trick for it. Select the water glass and duplicate it. Put it above to the rectangle. We need it from this frame where circle starts to convert in rectangle. So trim it and now use alpha matte on this layer. So it will remain inside of the water glass and there will not be any extra shape on sides. Select all keyframes and apply Easy Ease on it. Use Graph Editor and make all animations fast on the start point and slow at the end point. It will just make animation interesting and morphing will become smooth. And absolutely, it's up to you how you want to animate it. Nothing is hard and fast. Just play it. So in this case, there is actual shape morphing. Let's create one more rectangle inside of the water glass to make it interesting. So duplicate these layers, open animated parameters of the rectangle, and on this keyframe, move it to upper side. And let's increase its size too. Now it will morph same as the second rectangle. But I don't want it. I want it to appear by sliding from the top. So I don't need any roundness on it. Just remove its keyframes. And I also don't need this size animation. So remove its keyframes by going to last keyframe. If we remove it remaining on the first keyframe, it will remain square instead of the rectangle. So to avoid extra work, we will remove its keyframes by going to end keyframe. Now it will be a rectangle. And here we will only need position animation. So on the first keyframe, just move it to outside of the water glass. I don't want both rectangles animation simultaneously. So select these layers and shift them few frames. Let's play it. It has some problem right here. I don't want rounded corners on the rectangle. It should be flat. And this rounded corner is not because of the rectangle itself, because we have changed that while animating it. Let's look what will happen if we increase its size. It's still same. Let me check the problem. Okay, got it. It's because of the water glass. Since we have duplicated it, so it reserves all animation. And here, its roundness and path animations are playing. So we just need to shift it forward so that its animation occurs before the rectangle, which is just below it. And don't stretch it, otherwise animation will remain same, and in this case, we need to change the timing of the animation. It's fine. Now I want a cap on it. So we can either convert this rectangle or we can create a fresh one. So let's see how animation will look if we create a new one. So just draw a new rectangle. Zoom it and let's adjust its size and position. Use Pan Behind tool to position its anchor point to the center of the shape. Now let's animate it from here. Just trim it and open Scale property. Add a keyframe, unlink constraint proportion, and scale it to 0 on x-axis. Move 15 frames and let's resize it. Add interpolation to keyframes. Now use Graph Editor to change the animation. Let's preview it. It's fine, but I think it would be more dynamic if we morph our existing rectangle. So I'm going to hide this one. Now select the existing rectangle, open its animated properties, and let's delete these keyframes. Stretch it to increase its timing. Now open its path properties. Add keyframes to size, position, and roundness. Move 15 more frames and set roundness to 0. Unlink size and change its width and height. Now move it to upper side to make it a cap on the water glass. Select all keyframes and apply Easy Ease. And as usual, open Graph Editor and make it fast on the start point and slow on the end point. Let's preview it. Nice. So all you need to do, just play with the properties, graph editor, timing, and use your creativity to achieve best results. There is no theory about it. You have to use your own visualization. Let's preview it from the beginning. Nice animation. In next lesson, we will fill this glass with the coffee.